Hey everybody, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Pancrase, Legends of Mixed Martial Arts. I'm your host, Rob Wu, and I am very privileged to be joined by royalty today. Prince William, a little bit busy, but we do have the king of Pancrase, Josh Barnett.
You must have taken quite some time to think of that, and for that I applaud you.
I had a whole subway ride here to think about that. And Josh, today we're going to watch the Neo Blood tournament back in 1995. And Josh, this is a place where the lesser-known fighters can really make a name for themselves.
Right, and although some of these fighters have actually started to gain experience within the Pancrase system, they'll come in with some of them will come in with some decent records. This is still a different scenario in that they're being put under the pressure cooker to see who's going to come out on best. And anytime you create a tournament situation, it's not always the guy that's favored that's going to win it.
All right, but before we go to the tournament, we have a super bout for you, Wayne Shamrock versus Larry Papadopoulos. And Josh, if I was Larry Papadopoulos, I might want a doctor on standby.
Well, for sure, Larry coming in with his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background, I'm sure he feels more than capable on the ground with a catch wrestler like Ken Shamrock, or Wayne Shamrock as he is known at this point. But let's just see if he's got the antidote to some of the leg locks that are very prevalent in Pancrase.
Larry Papadopoulos versus Wayne Shamrock.
As we see both fighters shaking hands, we are ready to start. As this match begins, Papadopoulos throwing the right kick to start. Both fighters just feeling each other out a little bit.
Ken owning the center of the ring, looking very confident. Papadopoulos a little leery to engage so quickly, maybe looking for an opportunity. High kick by Papadopoulos, but answered with a very serious low kick by Ken Shamrock.
Which draws oohs and ahs from the crowd.
Larry responds in kind, now starting to pick up the action. Big middle kick from Shamrock. Sometimes that's what it takes, is just one guy to land one significant blow and then to get the other fighter ready to fire back, and seems like that might be the case right here.
Ken Shamrock, a master of the submission, so if this fight goes on the ground, Papadopoulos has to be very careful.
Devastating knee to Papadopoulos as he tries to transition from a hip toss block into a rolling knee bar attempt, but Shamrock just physically too powerful for Papadopoulos to execute such a maneuver.
And if you're a Papadopoulos, what's your game plan here, Josh?
Better pizza, better ingredients.
I'm guessing you don't give him much of a chance in this fight. So
actually, you know what? Larry is no slouch because he is in the Pancrase organization, which means he's improved. He must have impressed a few people as he went for the fireman's carry there. Papadopoulos has to actually not make this a wrestling match, because I think the wrestling and physicality of Ken Shamrock is going to be too much for him to handle. I think what he needs to do is, if anything, maybe try and pull guard and maybe try to bait Shamrock into looking for an easy opportunity and then try to counter. But Shamrock here is just looking like an 800-pound gorilla all over Larry Papadopoulos.
And sometimes you might hear us refer to him as Ken or Wayne Shamrock. They are indeed the same person. He just happened to change his name.
Ken locking up the leg of Papadopoulos, looking to drop back into a leg lock. Larry Papadopoulos looking for a sweep by hooking Ken's legs. Ken in on the Achilles lock.
And that Achilles lock ends the fight. Papadopoulos screaming in pain. Ken Shamrock the winner in the first round, 2-18. Not a huge surprise here, Josh.
No, just a picture-perfect Achilles lock. Gets the job done. Simple, but incredibly effective.
And now we will move on to the first round of the Neo Blood tournament. It's Katsuome Inagaki versus Osami Shibuya. Josh, these two fighters definitely want to make themselves get into that elite category of fighters here in Pancrase.
Well, Shibuya here really starting out at the beginning of his career, really having a difficult time working up through the ranks, and he's having to face fighters, veterans like Yanagisawa and Shamrock, and he's going to have to fight another veteran here in Inagaki, but Inagaki, more of the journeyman, sort of middle-of-the-road type fighter for Pancrase, but with the kind of experience he brings to the ring, he's not going to be any easy feat to beat.
All right, let's kick off this fight.
Katsuome Inagaki versus Osami Shibuya.
Inagaki in the black, I believe.
think.
Yes.
And Shibuya, yes, in the gray. As we move ahead in the match, both fighters on the mat.
In a leg catch position is Shibuya. Inagaki pressuring on top, dropping back into the knee bars. Inagaki against Shibuya.
And Shibuya has to try to get his knee out of the grasp of Inagaki.
The ropes there just in case he may need it. Inagaki trying to overhook that knee, putting a ton of pressure on that lock by putting that heel in the armpit.
And fortunately for Inagaki,
Shibuya,
unfortunately for Inagaki, the ref does break the fight. They will restart at the center.
However, Inagaki's got to be feeling pretty confident already to get a nice catch like that. Big palm strike by Inagaki, ducked by Shibuya as he goes in for the body lock.
Both fighters in the clinch and a nice takedown by Inagaki.
Well executed inside trip. However, Shibuya able to reverse positions against Inagaki and neutralize the advantage of that takedown. Further on in the match here, Inagaki losing the back control position, but looking to attack perhaps with the triangle or the arm lock. Is Inagaki off his back while Shibuya here working patiently inside the guard.
And we expect this fight to end on the mat, Josh. These two guys don't really have knockout power.
Well, and even if it wasn't about power, the striking game is not really their forte. Shibuya looking to secure the grapevine there. Figure four body lock executed by Shibuya, very painful and a maneuver that can rob your opponent of a lot of energy, as it makes it very difficult to breathe.
And Inagaki not near the center of the ropes. He'll have to figure out his own way out of this. But the referee does break it. Perhaps a little bit of inaction on Shibuya's part.
Yeah, while that move can make it very difficult to breathe, we move further into this match here. It is not necessarily a fight ender. Nice armbar set up by Inagaki.
And Shibuya trying to keep his arms together. If he lets it go, he's in real trouble.
Trying to escape still is Shibuya, rotating, spinning, trying to get that arm free, and it looks as if he did escape the arm lock.
Narrowly avoiding disaster there, Josh.
Near finish for Inagaki, and Shibuya now looking for his own arm. 30 seconds left, and the toe hold attack.
And both fighters realizing that, trying to be a little more active than they were in the beginning of the match.
Inagaki looking for the headlock. Shibuya continues to hold him within half guard. Not much time left to determine a clear victor. 10 seconds as Inagaki takes the back of Shibuya, but I don't think he's going to find much opportunity to finish this match here as he's looking for the arm.
Once again going for the arm bar, but the referee will break them up as this match is over, and it will go to the judges who decide that Inagaki is the winner. This fight goes the distance, and Inagaki will move on to the second round. Shibuya out of the tournament. And Josh, even though Inagaki didn't lock in that armbar, the fact that he came so close, it looked like that really made a point to the judges.
Right, that arm lock and that earlier when he executed that knee bar attempt. It seemed as though really most of the submission attempts executed by Inagaki were much closer to being finishes than the ones by Shibuya, and rightfully so. The judges scored that much higher on their criteria and gave the decision to Inagaki.
All right, we have to take a quick break, but don't go away. More action from the Neo Blood Tournament coming right after the break.
Takafumi Ito versus Jeff Mesger.
You see Ito in the red, Mesger in the black.
Opening up with a big right shote is Mesger and getting the front headlock now on Ito. Ito looking to finish that takedown with Mesger controlling well. Ito still working that single leg and might get it, and he does happen to get Mesger on his back. Mesger here, the taller fighter, has to watch that his leg there does not get attacked by Ito.
As the fighters are nearing the ropes, Ito should probably try to move Mesger closer to the center, as he does right here. And we move along forward in the fight.
Ito looking to drop into that toe hold. Mesger looking perhaps to get one of his own.
Both fighters rolling almost out of the ring. The referee will probably have to break them up and restart them in the center.
Mesger showing great composure for a newcomer to the Pancrase ring.
And this is the perfect place for him to make his mark, the Neo Blood tournament.
Ito mounted, delivering some shotes as he drops into an arm lock against Mesger here. Mesger desperately trying to keep that arm from getting extended, but in a very dangerous position.
Ito still going for that armbar, very close to getting it. And he does get it. Jeff Mesger loses. And Josh, this result, it was kind of expected.
It was, but I think Mesger actually gave a really great performance considering, and a bit of a surprise out of Jeff Mesger.
All right, and we move on to our next fight, Vernon Tiger White versus Gregory Smith. Now, we know Vernon would grow a lot as a fighter, but at this point, just how good is he?
Well, he isn't one of the top guys in Pancrase right now, but matches here against Schmidt is the sort of thing that's going to help Vernon's progression. And Schmidt, I think, an even newer sort of face to the sport of Pancrase than White. And if anybody would have the advantage, actually White should be looked upon as the veteran in this match.
All right, let's see if that veteran experience pays off.
Gregory Smith versus Vernon Tiger White.
White in the black and Schmidt in the Aussie trunks with the green shin guards.
And Smith with a nice single leg takedown of White, now in the full guard position.
White working that front choke. Doesn't look as if he's got it locked in too deep as Schmidt gets his head free.
As both fighters near the corner of the ring, the referee will probably have to break them up if they do not move out of that position.
White controlling the wrist of Schmidt. Schmidt perhaps looking to bring the fight more to the center, working inside the guard of Vernon White.
As we move along, now White is on the back of Schmidt.
Looking for the choke is White as he locks in a sleeper hold around his neck.
And Schmidt in a little bit of trouble here.
Looking more like a face lock now as White across the jawline, but Schmidt.
As we zip on along, both fighters back on their feet.
Schmidt just closing the distance and crowding White. Looking for a suplex was Schmidt as White drops into the knee bar.
And Schmidt, nice job of rolling over, avoiding the knee bar at least for now.
White changing over to an Achilles lock, sensing the finish is near. Schmidt looking composed, staying relaxed.
As we move along, Schmidt now with the side control.
Going for the mount against White, but White seeing it coming, reverses and drops into another knee bar against Schmidt.
Schmidt once again in a precarious position.
Getting some direction from his corner is White to try and finish this hold. Now looking to get the toe hold on the opposite side, but Schmidt continuing to escape. Kick fired by White. Schmidt closing the distance and looking for the body lock against White. Vernon's corner imploring him to get moving as Schmidt gets another takedown. Vernon now taking the leg of Schmidt once more. Schmidt getting another body lock takedown.
And that is how the fight ends. A very close fight. The judges are going to have a very tough decision to make here.
I would think if anybody would get the decision, though, it would be White because of all the various submission attacks. He wasn't successful in extending the leg, but two draws.
30対29グレゴリー・スミット。以上判定結果1対0をもちまして青コーナーグレゴリー・スミット選手の勝利
And a puzzling result, Josh. I don't think Gregory Smith believes he won this fight. You see him shaking his head in a very disappointing loss for Vernon Tiger White.
Christopher DeWeaver versus Ryushi Yanagisawa.
DeWeaver looking very focused before, as we saw. Knees delivered by DeWeaver, but Yanagisawa gets the single leg takedown.
Immediately into the grappling is Yanagisawa, electing not to use his karate and kickboxing background. DeWeaver trying to shrimp, as they call it, and get his guard back, but Yanagisawa continuing to hold the side control position. DeWeaver looking to use some sort of modified choke, probably something he's able to execute because of being around 6'7", 6'8".
And you just heard the referee yell fight. He'll do that to try to tell the fighters he wants to see more action, or else he'll break them apart.
Yanagisawa now in the headlock position. Nice head and arm, maybe looking for a choke or a neck crank. DeWeaver struggling.
But DeWeaver is near the ropes should he decide to get to use an escape. He can do so. Christopher DeWeaver, if he wants to win this fight, he has to get on top of Yanagisawa at this point, I think, Josh.
Or at the very least, he needs to look to use that length to try and wrap up one of Yanagisawa's arms, or maybe use his legs to start that triangle choke again. As you can hear, DeWeaver has Larry Papadopoulos in his corner.
And shooting in is Yanagisawa, getting another takedown.
Looking to attack the arm. Still working the neck is Yanagisawa, maybe looking to take that arm of DeWeaver's, catch it in between his legs, and apply a shoulder lock, known as the telephone arm lock, or perhaps a straight arm lock using the legs. DeWeaver here rolling up on his shoulders, trying to apply a scissor on Yanagisawa. Yanagisawa getting that arm down, that telephone arm lock.
And there we have it. DeWeaver has to tap out. And Ryushi Yanagisawa moves on, very pumped about that victory.
Yanagisawa looks like he's added some size, some serious muscle, and actually from the past few tours here. And a strong performance, not a bit conservative on Yanagisawa's effort, as he's going to have to move on and fight again another time this night.
And Christopher DeWeaver, as we see, Josh, not able to muster up almost any kind of offense, spending most of the time on the mat getting worked on by Yanagisawa.
Yeah, it seemed as though that his length, his just being so tall, actually became a bit of an issue, and he wasn't really able to use any of the advantages he might have from having long legs and long arms. And Yanagisawa just staying inside, tight to the inside of his body, just really keeping him flat on the mat and unable to really amount much offense.
All right, we're going to go to a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we'll watch Minoru Suzuki. Welcome back to the show. Now we're going to watch Minoru Suzuki take on Jason Delucia. Now, this isn't part of the Neo Blood tournament, Josh, because, well, frankly speaking, these guys aren't Neo Bloods.
No, they're, in fact, Suzuki being one of the founders of Pancrase, and these two have had some incredible matches together, and me being a huge Minoru Suzuki fan, just really looking forward to seeing this fight.
All right, let's see how he fares against Jason Delucia.
Jason Delucia versus Minoru Suzuki.
And there is Jason Delucia coming in. I don't know if you know this about Delucia, Josh. He plays the piano and the guitar, and we will speak to him at some point during our season. And there is Minoru Suzuki, one of the co-founders of Pancrase, along with Masakatsu Funaki. And a stone-cold look from Suzuki. We see that almost every time he enters the ring, Josh.
Yeah, Suzuki, as I can personally attest, is one of the more tenacious and really considered, almost pretty near evil fighters in the ring. He is as mean as they come.
But off the ring, Josh, very nice guy.
Yes, he is actually, and I'm proud to call him a friend and glad to have had the opportunity to have trained with him.
And this match is a super bout scheduled for 30 minutes. Suzuki looking very focused, staring into the eyes of Delucia.
One of the more intimidating fighters, I would say.
And Delucia, I don't think anything bothers this guy. Probably not scared of Suzuki at all.
And even if he is experiencing some fear of just simply being in the ring, he knows how to control that fear, and he's been in all kinds of different matches, from cage fights within the Ultimate Fighting Championship, private challenge matches against Royce Gracie. This is just another step into the ring for Delucia, another day at the office. But unfortunately, his boss, Minoru Suzuki, might be looking to fire him after this fight.
And Josh, as a fighter, even if you are nervous, when the bell rings, does adrenaline just take over?
For a lot of guys, yeah. In fact, for some fighters, that fear is actually what gives them the energy to go in there and really perform at their highest level. Delucia here, a little cautious as he takes a low kick from Minoru Suzuki.
And now moving in on Suzuki, misses the backhanded punch.
Nice machine gun series of shotes, ending with that spinning back shote. Another big set of strikes from Delucia, but Suzuki quickly attaining the takedown and working from the half guard against Jason Delucia.
As we move along the fight, both fighters now on their feet.
Delucia continuing to wing those big strikes as Suzuki now caught in a tight front choke against Delucia.
And Suzuki is near the ropes. Maybe should be looking for a takedown as he gets it there.
Nice counter by Suzuki, getting the takedown and showing his experience as he drops into an arm lock, but Delucia immediately counters, now fighting against the triangle attempt of Suzuki, although Suzuki doesn't have the legs clamped down, and Delucia easily able to escape. Nice series of exchanges from these two veteran fighters.
And both fighters will be back on their feet. The crowd appreciating the action thus far.
Both wrestlers on their feet. See if Delucia continues with his palm strike attack. Suzuki stalking Delucia as he backs off. Maybe trying to draw Suzuki in. Low kick by Suzuki. Palm strikes from Delucia.
And now comes Suzuki, and when Delucia is throwing those palm strikes, if you're Minoru Suzuki, you've got to be looking for the takedown.
He's got to be moving his head and changing levels, although Delucia is getting a little wiser to it and starting to sprawl. Suzuki, though, showing why he is considered one of the best.
And Delucia pushing Suzuki into a corner, and now had the front choke for a second. Both fighters back on their feet.
Great exchange between these two fighters. Delucia pouring on with the strikes. Suzuki with another single leg does get the takedown this time. A lot of scrambling between these two fighters as Delucia using the unorthodox spinning strikes and side kicks, throwing Suzuki's rhythm off a little bit, but Suzuki now on the mat, right where he wants to be. Delucia working his way back to his feet, but getting taken down again.
And both fighters back down on the mat, but too close to the ropes. The ref will break them up. And you have to say, Josh, the longer this fight stays on the mat, the better the chance Suzuki has to win this.
I agree. And Delucia here, he does have the reach advantage. So if he is able to stay outside and fire with those slaps and kicks, he's got a good chance of winning this fight. But Suzuki, incredibly slick at avoiding the strikes and shooting in and getting the double leg tackle now as he works against the side control on Jason Delucia.
As we move along in the fight.
Nice low kick by Suzuki, and responded by a high snap kick from Delucia and a back spin kick from Delucia.
And Suzuki perhaps looking a little winded. Now has Delucia on the mat, grabbing his ankle.
Looking to attack the Achilles lock is Suzuki, but Delucia grabbing the feet, looking to sweep Suzuki backwards and come on top, using some of that jiu-jitsu training he acquired earlier on in his career. Passing the guard is Suzuki, as Delucia now working a single leg takedown, and Suzuki working a front choke against Delucia, rolls him over, sitting the hips down.
And Delucia taps out a front choke sleeper, wins this fight for Minoru Suzuki, 9-3 in the first round. A quality opponent Suzuki just took down.
A hard-fought match between the two of these, and Delucia, a very wily fighter, and unorthodox, like I said before, but very capable on the ground, giving Suzuki many difficulties. But Suzuki, being the veteran grappler that he is, and using his extensive catch wrestling knowledge, once he locked up that neck and rolled him over, all was said and done.
Welcome back. Now it's time to watch Guy Mesger take on John Renfrow. And Josh, Guy Mesger, his record might only say 2-0, but he's a lot better than a fighter with just 2 matches under his belt.
Mesger, being one of the fellow fighters out of the Lions Den group in San Diego, I think is where they're training at the time, actually coming from Dallas, Texas, training with the likes of Ken Shamrock, Frank Shamrock, as well as later on Pete Williams. Just a great group of guys around him. It's no wonder that he's already having success within Pancrase.
Well, let's just see how successful he is against John Renfrow.
Guy Mesger versus John Renfrow.
Feinting the kick is Renfrow. Low kick by Mesger. More of a measuring strike. Renfrow charging forward and pulling guard.
So far, John Renfrow looking better than an 0-2 fighter, but a good move on Renfrow's part. Guy Mesger, some of the best kicks in the business.
Well, getting his guard passed for good measure is Renfrow now, as Mesger trying to secure the side control position.
As we move further ahead.
Mesger working from the mount, looking to take the arm of John Renfrow is Guy Mesger.
John Renfrow flipping around and now has a choke on, and looks like Renfrow had to grab the ropes for an escape there.
Big bridge by Renfrow, but threw himself right, while he did escape the armbar, threw himself right into a sleeper, back on their feet. Big side kick by Guy Mesger puts Renfrow on the mat. Looking for the legs is Mesger.
And Renfrow not in a very comfortable position, as he has his hands on the ropes and the referee tells him to get that hand off.
Escape!
And Renfrow will take another escape, perhaps fearing Mesger was about to apply something to his ankle.
Yeah, Mesger would have a lot of success with the knee bar within Pancrase. Dropping and pulling guard again is Renfrow. I don't think this is the best option, though, against a fighter like Guy Mesger, though.
And Renfrow almost went for the ropes again, but he has 2 points deducted already. He cannot afford to grab the ropes one more time. As we move ahead in the fight, Mesger.
I guess the referee, instead of seeming to do Renfrow a favor there by allowing the fight to continue, Mesger working that straight arm lock from the side control.
And going for the armbar, he does get the armbar, and John Renfrow loses 7-25 in the first round. Guy Mesger picks up the victory. And Josh, it looked like John Renfrow wanted no part of Guy Mesger, but the referee said, no, you signed up for this fight. We're going to fight this till the end.
Very strange indeed. That's all I have to say about that.
Have you ever seen something like that?
No.
With the fighters grabbing the ropes?
No.
He wants this fight to end. The ref says, no, we can't end this yet.
No, exactly. He's like, people paid good money for this, so get your butt back out there and get submitted like a real man. I don't know what he's thinking. But on the other hand, at least it gave Renfrow a chance to actually stay further in the fight and get an ankle lock attempt of his own, even if unsuccessful.
And 2 real men coming up, Boss Rooney and Frank Shamrock now neither of these guys are going to start grabbing the ropes like John Renfrow.
No, and well, unless it's serious business, as both of them starting to Shamrock well known already for a very dynamic submission game, but Rutten developing quite the dangerous submission arsenal himself. This being the second meeting between the two of them, you got to figure that Rutten's going to want to get revenge over the and wants to show the world that was just first timers luck in their first match.
That's right. Shamrock did defeat Rutten in his first career bout. Let's see if he can take 2 straight from El Guapo.
Boss Rutten versus Frank Shamrock.
And 10-4 is Rutten, and Shamrock 4 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw.
Frank getting fired up.
Both fighters in terrific physical shape.
Rutten owning the center of the ring there.
And Shamrock lost his balance a little bit. Not a knockdown. Both fighters still feeling each other out as Rutten throws a left kick.
Nice lead left high kick. Strip front kick from Rutten. Shamrock with the double leg takedown though. Well timed. Big shote from Shamrock as he drops back to go for the leg, and Rutten going to the mat with him.
Both fighters on the ground. Shamrock on top of Rutten, and those R's Rutten drew on the back of his hands are now gone.
As the match wears on here, both fighters getting more and more sweaty, making the submissions much more difficult to secure.
And Shamrock thus far doing a good job keeping Rutten on the ground, where he cannot throw those devastating knee strikes or shotes, as he's working on the ankle of Rutten now.
Rutten trying to kick Shamrock off, ended up getting his leg attacked for good measure, but responding in kind is Rutten also going for an Achilles lock of his own.
Shamrock is near the ropes, so he can grab it to use an escape if he would like.
Shamrock's got to be careful. Rutten getting good position on that leg.
And Shamrock trying to work those legs of Rutten at the same time.
Nice toe hold attempt by Shamrock, but not quite able to get the position he needs to get underneath it. Turning it over now is Shamrock. Rutten got to be careful there. Very, very dangerous position for Rutten. He could get his ankle broken from that hold.
Does not look comfortable. Rutten's ankle looks like it's twisted in directions it doesn't belong in.
Try to transition to a knee bar, but Rutten now attacking with a toe hold of his own.
Now trying to twist the ankle of Shamrock as these fighters nearing the ropes once again.
Break.
Front kick by Rutten. Shamrock drops into the leg, and Rutten also catching the leg. And again, we have another leg lock battle between these two competitors. Rutten trying to finish that Achilles lock. Shamrock smiles in appreciation.
Now, we saw Shamrock smile later on in a fight with Rutten. Ended up hurting him in the end.
Toe hold attempt by Rutten. And now rolling through, trying to catch the knee bar. Frank in a bad spot.
And lucky for him, they are too close to the ropes. The referee breaks it up, and Boss Rutten not happy about that.
No, he knew he had an excellent position on Shamrock there, and that knee bar was just inches away from being finished. Shamrock getting a bit of a break there. And now back on their feet against the most dangerous striker in Pancrase as he throws a knee is Rutten catching the head on off the double leg. Shamrock now working from the top.
Shamrock, no interest trading strikes with Rutten, keeping this fight on the ground.
Rutten attempting to secure a triangle choke there, pulling the head down and trying to get that arm across. Frank Shamrock trying to keep that head up, trying to keep Boss from locking those legs.
And Boss doing is trying to lock those legs.
Triangle choke getting secured by Rutten.
as the fighters are near the ropes once again. And the bell rings. This fight is over, and it will once again go to the judges.
Very difficult decision to make.
時間切れのため勝負は判定となります。ただいまジャッジペーパーの集計を行っております。しばらくお待ちく
Both
ださい。
fighters exhausted after that bout. Good sportsmanship, as always, seen in Pancrase. As we are waiting to hear from the judges.
Boss Rutan taking a swig of the water offered by Ken Shamrock for
レフェ
Frank.
リー岡本博美30対28ルッテン
Rutan 30-28.
ジャッジ小菅健二30対29フランク・シャムロック
Shamrock 30-29. We have a split decision already.
広戸総一30対
And the last
29
judge,
バスルッテン
For Rutan 30-29.
a very close fight, Josh. I think this could have gone either way, maybe.
From what we saw here, it looked really, in my eyes, more as if Frank won the fight. But the judges feeling differently, giving the rewarding the fight to Rutan.
Sometimes, Josh, we see these judges, they might give the fight to the more active fighter, even though he might not be doing as much damage.
Well, what I saw was that Frank Shamrock was scoring so many different, scored the takedowns so often, and it seemed to control the top position so much in the fight. And a couple of those leg attacks, since they were initiated by Shamrock, I think have some merit. But that knee bar over in the ropes over there, that could have been the deciding factor in the fight, and maybe that's what the judges are really taking into factor.
All right, so Boss Rutan does avenge his loss to Frank Shamrock. We have to take a quick commercial break, but don't go away. The co-founder of Pancrase, Masakatsu Funaki, fights next. Welcome back to the show, and now we're going to see Masakatsu Funaki take on Leon Dyke. And Josh, Leon Dyke, does he know what he's getting himself into here?
I think he does, and he knows that
And
Funaki...
I will follow that up with, is he insane?
He's not insane, but he is a student of Boss Rutan's, another incredibly powerful striker, but he knows he's got to keep this match on the feet as much as possible. Funaki, being the well-rounded veteran, is likely going to take Dyke out of his comfort zone, put him on his back, and I expect look for that toehold that has found Funaki so much success.
All right, let's see if Boss Rutan's training has paid off.
Leon Deek versus Masakatsu Funaki.
Both fighters cautious in the ring. Dyke opens up with a nice high kick.
And Dyke is trained in Thai boxing.
Nice single leg takedown with looks like a kick to the head as they landed by Dyke. Referee overlooking the rule infraction.
And Funaki has this fight on the ground right where he wants it.
Dyke looking a little out of place.
As we see Funaki waiting patiently for an opening, and he might have it right here. Going for the Achilles of Dyke.
What a beautiful series of transitions by Funaki. Working that Achilles lock. Started with the arm, spun all the way to the left leg, right leg of Dyke, and then transitioned to the left leg eventually, where he's catching the Achilles lock here.
And a beautiful job by Masakatsu Funaki. Before he applied that last Achilles lock, moved Dyke away from the ropes, and Dyke could not grab it. So Dyke loses 101 in the first round. Masakatsu Funaki making quick work of his opponent.
Yeah, that was poetry in motion, and really some of the finest examples of catch wrestling as your one's going to find.
And Leon Dyke, Josh, his fighting career came to an abrupt and unexpected end.
Right, just as he was reaching his peak, Leon Dyke was in an unfortunate car accident in his native Holland, and he would no longer enter the ring after that.
All right, we will now move on to the Neo Blood Tournament final. Ryushi Nagasawa versus Takafumi Ito. And Josh, which of these fighters do you like?
On paper, just looking at Inagisawa, he looks like a beast. And Ito here, having gone one full time limit match in a very tough fight against Inagaki, you should figure he's got to be tired. He's the smaller fighter. The cards are really stacked against him, but I saw something in Inagisawa in that last match that kind of shakes my confidence a little, and the fact that he got fatigued against that last fight when he only went over just around 7 minutes makes me think that maybe all that added bulk and size was a trade-off on his conditioning.
All right, let's see if that conditioning pays off for Inagisawa.
Takafumi Ito versus Ryoshi Inagisawa.
If I'm Ito, I'm going to smack him right in the face and see if I can't get that blood flowing. Do anything to get inside Inagisawa's head, or maybe get the referee to stop the fight. Whereas Ito here now, nice counter tackle to that high kick, working inside the guard of Inagisawa.
Ito switching to the side control, now in the half guard.
Trying to work to mount, perhaps, as Ito. As he now trying to take the back of Inagisawa. Inagisawa sits up.
As we move further ahead.
Ito attacking the arm, Inagisawa in a bad position.
And Inagisawa manages to slip out, and now finally he's on top of Ito.
Not in very good position, though, as Ito slides out the back door from Inagisawa, keeping his hips too high. Now rolling through to attack the leg is Inagisawa, but Ito here defending.
As both fighters spin towards the center of the ring.
Inagisawa with the toe hold attempt, but Ito trying to create some space and maneuver to escape. Inagisawa practically pulls the shin guard off of Ito while attempting to submit him.
And the referee will adjust his shin guard, as both fighters will restart.
Inagisawa not looking very fired up in this fight at all, whereas Ito seems to be getting stronger as this match goes on. Another single leg by Ito. Scores.
And so far, Ito seemingly dominating the fight. Inagisawa just looking a couple steps slower.
Yeah, as Inagisawa works a standing double wrist lock, but Ito very tight behind him. Takes him to the ground with a tight waist takedown and continues to work from the top.
Ito still on top.
Threatening with the triangle choke. Inagisawa defends, but Ito continuing to be on the attack, buzzing around Inagisawa like an angry bee is Ito.
Inagisawa looking winded, Josh. I don't think he has enough in him to even muster anything up.
No, and like I said, maybe all that added size and bulk is created a conditioning issue for Inagisawa. Or, maybe it's that bandaged up knee that I noticed earlier. But Inagisawa looking the worse for wear as Ito just went right after Inagisawa. And I think it's really pretty obvious who won that bout.
But with some of these judges, I guess you never know.
That's true. That's why I always say finish a fight. If you tap him out or knock him out, there's no judges to get involved.
As both fighters will wait for the judge's decision, the winner becomes the Neo Blood Tournament champion.
レフェリー広戸総一30対28伊藤
30-28 for Ito, one judge.
サブレフェリー平原正明29対29ドロー
Draw, one
ジャッジ
judge.
岡本博美30対28赤コーナー伊藤孝文
30-28, and Ito is considered the winner 2-1, 3-1.
2-1. Yeah, I think we had one draw, Josh.
We do have one draw. Yeah, 2-0-1.
2-0-1, and Ito winning the Neo Blood Tournament, and if he hasn't already, he's put himself on the map.
Yeah, Ito's got to be feeling really, really great about this. Going in there, beating some strong fighters, and then going into the finals against a monster of Inagisawa and coming out on top. he's got to be feeling like, hey, I'm ready to take on the best of the best now.
And that one judge that saw this fight as a draw, I'm not sure if he was watching the same match we were, Josh.
He needs a new prescription.
And on that note, we will go to our event highlight. And this comes from the Minoru Suzuki Jason Delucia match.
Rolling front neck lock applied by Suzuki. Just a beautiful technique, and Suzuki showing why he is a master of catch as catch can wrestling.
As we take a look from the overhead cam, there you see the tap out, and Suzuki is the winner.
Applying immense pressure as Suzuki sits his hips to the mat while continuing to secure Delucia's head. Tons of pressure put on the throat and the vertebrae, the spine of Delucia. No choice but to tap out.
And that is our move of the night. But before we go, Josh, I thought I was a well-dressed man, but today, what you're wearing, you just blew me out of the water.
As a professional athlete, I spend a lot of time in front of cameras, and I've been known to have to wear a suit. And after one time in Japan, one of the bosses of the fight companies, after a press conference, took a look at me and said, "This isn't going to happen again. We're gonna take you out, and we're gonna get you a suit. You need to show up and look right." So, taking some advice from that individual, I have spent quite the money on my wardrobe.
And perhaps maybe we can talk to some of the press people around here, get you on a billboard on Times Square, maybe?
If Versace wants to sponsor me, I'm right here.
That suit, too good just to be seen here. All right, that does it for this edition of Pancrase, Legends of Mixed Martial Arts. I'm Rob Wu.
Josh Barnett.
Same time, same place, next week.
Yeah.